The Hidden Cost of Communism, Torture, Tyranny, and the Truth. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. We often hear the phrase, "Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it." But what happens when history is deliberately forgotten, or worse, rewritten? That is exactly what has happened with the legacy of communism. In the 21st century, as our universities and media glorify socialist theory and flirt with Marxist rhetoric, we must ask, at what cost? What is the human price of the so-called People's Revolution? Today I want to speak plainly about torture, about tyranny, and about the truth that is so often buried under the weight of ideological spin. The promise and the lie. Communism, in theory, claims to be a force for liberation, a society where the worker reigns, the rich are humbled, and justice is redistributed from top to bottom. But wherever communism has been implemented, it has not liberated, it has enslaved, it has not raised the poor, it has flattened all under the weight of state power, and it has not delivered justice. It has justified barbarism in the name of the greater good. 2. A century of repression. Let's begin with the historical facts, ones that should be taught in every school and remembered in every serious conversation about political systems. In Stalin's Soviet Union and today, under President Putin, well over 20 million people have been imprisoned, tortured, or executed in the Gulag system. Many are sentenced for petty reasons, speaking out, owning property, or simply being denounced by a jealous neighbor. Torture is not rare, it was routine. In Mao's China and today, the Cultural Revolution unleashed chaos, public beatings, forced confessions, executions in the street. Tens of millions have died through starvation, violence, and repression. Children are ordered to denounce their parents. Entire families are broken, and entire villages wiped out. Cambodia under Pol Pot became a killing field. 1 in 4 Cambodians died under his communist regime. The prisons, like Tuol Sleng, were factories of torture. Survivors described waterboarding, beatings with electrical wire, and forced confessions obtained through agony. These are not anomalies, these are patterns. 3. Modern-day communism. The repression continues. In China, the Communist Party has established a vast and insidious network of re-education camps, or gulags, primarily targeting the population in Xinjiang province. Current estimates suggest that millions of ethnic minorities are detained under brutal conditions characterized by forced labor, psychological indoctrination, and horrific abuse. First-hand accounts detail instances of beatings, sexual violence, and systematic efforts to erase cultural and religious identities. All of this is justified under the pretense of counterterrorism and social harmony, revealing the sinister rationale behind such oppressive measures. In North Korea, the Communist Party continues to hold millions in concentration camps. Generations are born into labor camps for so-called crimes, torture, and inhumane conditions. Prisoners in labor camps, known as Kwan Lee So, often face torture, beatings, and starvation. Conditions are horrific, with forced labor in dangerous and degrading conditions. Prisoners are beaten with metal rods, exposed to freezing cold, and left to die of starvation. Entire families vanish because one person spoke against the regime. In Cuba, dissidents are routinely harassed, detained, and abused by state security. Torture methods have included beatings, stress positions, and threats against family members. In Vietnam and Laos, Christian minorities and political activists are subject to re-education camps and harsh prison conditions designed to break their will. In parts of Russia and the Middle East, reports indicate that forced labor camps and mass executions or gas chambers are used as tools of repression, employing brutal methods to suppress, torture, and eliminate those held as captives or political enemies. This is not progress. This is totalitarianism, clothed in revolutionary language. 4. The Western blind spot. And yet, here in the West, how do we respond? We see college students wearing Che Guevara shirts, ignorant or indifferent to the fact that he personally oversaw firing squads in Cuba. We see media outlets praising China's efficiency while ignoring its Orwellian surveillance and widespread human rights abuses. We even hear elected officials calling for democratic socialism as though that phrase can somehow separate Marxist theory from Marxist outcomes. This is the danger. When we forget what communism truly is, we risk inviting it back through the back door of cultural amnesia. V. Torture as a feature, not a flaw. Let's be very clear. The use of torture in communist regimes is not an accident. It is not a mistake or the result of corruption. It is a core feature of the system. Because when power is centralized, when the state becomes God, when dissent is labeled treason, the only way to enforce conformity is through fear, violence, and control. That is why torture is not just a historical footnote. It is the engine that has driven every communist regime into tyranny. 6. The moral imperative. So, what do we do with this truth? We tell it. We teach it. We defend it. Because if we do not, a generation will grow up believing that the horrors of the past were exaggerations, or worse, that they were necessary. Let us be the ones who say without hesitation, freedom is better than forced equality. Truth is better than propaganda, and dignity is better than submission to the collective. Let us honor the victims not with silence, but with courage. To those who suffered in the gulags, in the labor camps, in the torture chambers of totalitarian states, we remember you. We speak for you. And we will not allow your pain to be washed away by the shallow tides of political fashion. Communism has always promised paradise. It has always delivered a prison. And it's time we say so, clearly, boldly, and without apology. Thank you. God bless you, and may freedom always find defenders willing to speak the truth.